around here in Ligonier, our hiking biking trail. I was part of all of that. Now we have Ligonier Beach. It's a part of the valley for sure. One thing, it is along the Lincoln Highway, and I talked to Olga from the Lincoln Highway Museum, and it is one of the unique assets along the Lincoln Highway that should really be preserved as part of that history. People drive coast to coast on that highway, stopping at all the little places along there, the Coffee Pot in Bedford. They still talk about the Ship's Hotel. We need to preserve what was there as part of the Lincoln Highway, as part of the Ligonier Valley. We also, as far as doing things for young people, we don't have a swimming pool. We used to have a pool at Idlewild Park. Now that pool isn't there. We do have the YMCA, and in the Y has all the community rooms, basketball courts, all of those activities happen there. We really don't need a splash park. We have Idlewild Park for that. Yeah. But we don't have an outdoor swimming pool for our kids. They go to Latrobe Pool, they go to Dairy Pool. Those pools are packed with kids because Ligonier Beach has closed and there's nowhere else to go, so they go all around different pools trying to find a place to swim. We really need a place right here for our kids, right here in Ligonier, to go swimming, to learn how to swim, to meet all their friends. It's a great place for parties, family reunions, teen parties, adult parties, music venue. There's a restaurant there. To have all kinds of events can take place there, along with being a swimming pool. And all of the regulations that some people talk about, we don't have to comply to those because we are kind of grandfathered in with this pool, with the sloped sides. So as far as, and what I want to say too is, as far as all the structural parts of all the buildings and stuff, I feel like the pool is the elephant in the room. You're talking about this little bridge and this little stone building, and there really isn't any real concrete idea as to where we are with the pipes underneath, and I don't know how to build a pool, but there it is. And you know, I don't really have an idea as to what needs to be done. What part of the structural engineer is good or bad or whatever, but the pool itself, when they did the movie I guess it was last fall, I don't know when, they filled up the pool with water, and they drained all that water out. So somehow something's working underneath there, and well, I don't know. But anyway, I would love to save the pool for the historical value with the Ligonier Valley and also the Lincoln Highway. Okay?
Thank you, girls. Anybody else? Anybody else?
Anybody else to?
Good evening. My name is Scott Haynes. I've lived in the community for 40-some years. I work in the community, and the first thing I like to do is thank the township representatives for holding this meeting tonight. Can we give them a round of applause? It's really, every journey, no matter what that journey looks like, needs a beginning. Simple fact. And this could be the beginning of something. I don't know what that exactly is, but I do know if we don't have this meeting and maybe one, I guess it's in March, you can't go anywhere unless you start somewhere. So thank you very much for all the representatives from the township and the borough being here to put this in motion. Appreciate that. I know, part of my work leads me to believe that it is right that you want to get in situations where you can preserve history. It's important. I think we also would agree, though, that as time goes forward, we have to preserve that history maybe in different types of ways. I believe that, one of the ways a community is important is, a pool. A pool's important part, can be an important part of a community. I think we also have to look at long-term, possibly a multifaceted use of that areas as well, because the world has changed. I mean, you look at Laurel Mountain, you see it's where we're going weather-wise. It gets in a situation where if we don't have different revenue streams that can come into that entity, it can be a challenge for that entity to stay open. Laurel Mountain's been open to close several times. I don't think this might be dissimilar in my opinion. And I just think whatever thinking we do have, I think it should be multi-purposed. I think it also should be multi-demographic, meaning that we do think of various demographics that could use this historic site. And I do think that's important. I don't think it's been mentioned a couple times, from the youth of the community up to those who have gray hair like I do, that are a little bit older. So, and there's also other ideas that someone has portrayed here that you can take a look at. But, I do feel in general that no matter what we do, one, it's important, I think we do something to that. It's a big eyesore right now. And for someone who's in the business, who works in the community, it's one of the main thoroughfares of which you come into our town. It's an historical thoroughfare, as Sharon just said, as you come into our town. There's a one on the other side of Idlewild, as you come in that way. That's a little rough looking on each side of the road. So in summary, one, I want to thank the township for starting this journey with us. I think it's important, and at least we've got a beginning. Two, I think that no matter what we do, we want to look at it as preserving that area in there, and that I think anything that involves a community and that brings community together, whether it's families and kids and so forth, such as a pool, because unfortunately at this juncture in our history, we don't have a pure pool here. So that's just a fact. But then, and lastly, I think it has to take a look at all demographics and maybe a multi-purpose, so it's something that we can realistically maintain through the next generation of our history with it. I don't think that's something that can be ignored. But you have to start somewhere. So thanks a lot, I appreciate it, and thank you very much, Terry, for your group being here.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you. Is there any more public comment? Because we'd like to start with the presentations. Yep.
I'm Ann Woodall. I live just a little bit east of the pool. That water came down. It took my tool shed, tore it all apart, took my lawnmower, never saw it again. That was only 4.5 inches of rain. But it came down the hills like a funnel, and boy, it went through. So we cannot trust the weather. Living near the pool, I saw in the last couple of years, fewer and fewer people were going there. I think maybe the price got too high compared to Idlewild, where they could go in and do all that other stuff too. And then Laurel Mountain Borough has a pool. And I would like to see it made into a natural pool with cattails and frogs and fish and kids running around, picnic area, a restaurant, as he says, any other things than a swimming pool, because people just weren't in it the last few years.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to make sure, my understanding from what I heard you say, Larry, is that the township is not interested in running a business there.
Correct.
That if this is going to happen, somebody is going to have to step up to do it.
That's correct.
It's not going to be the community deciding what it is. Somebody else is going to have to provide the funding and the opportunity and the willingness to run it as a business.
That's correct.
Then the other thing I did have a question for Ben. What is the sewage situation there? And the other is, since you're the engineering group, my understanding about what you're allowed to do to change elevation in the floodplain is very restricted.
Yes, we can just.
answer to the first question, what's the sewage situation? The site is served by public sewer. So you're a step in the right direction there, thankfully. Your question about the floodplain, your question was, how do you build it up?
People talk about trying to elevate, maybe diking. My understanding is in the floodplain area, there's very, very deep restrictions about what you can do to change the water flow.
There are, within the 100-year floodplain, we can build the land up. We can raise buildings above it. There's things you can do. It all costs money. You can dike to a certain extent. You can build buildings that are flood resistant. But you can build within the floodplain. The floodway, different story. That was the area in pink,
Right.
closer to the street. Much more permitting is required, and the type of things you're allowed to do in that area are much more restricted.
My last one then would be simply if we chose not to have, say, a business as a pool, and tried to do a recreational community area, but not have it function as a business.
Correct.
What is the township's position on that, as far as just getting funding to do something like that, but then where does management come if it's not to be a business?
The township will listen to all opportunities, public-private partnerships, people have an interest there. That's the reason for the public meeting tonight, to get feedback from what the public wants to see. The township will listen to all opportunities to come forward at this point. Okay. I'd like anybody else for comment? We have a couple of presentations we're going to do tonight too.
All right, well,
Okay.
thank you very much for your comments. We do have a couple of presentations tonight. And we'll do first the
Debbie
clerk group.
Is Debbie here? Oh, okay, you ready? Okay. You want to speak up there?